All right, we are live. Yeah, I guess it's going to take a few seconds. Yeah, so welcome to everyone who's just joining. Welcome to our third town hall in the last few months. We're just going to wait a few minutes to make sure that we have everyone joining. Yeah, nice. We've already got some questions. Very cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
So we've already got 30 people.
Early adopters of deBridge. most loyal members of deBridge fan. Yeah, thank you guys for joining, and also feel free to retweet the town hall announcement so that more people can find out about this community call and what we will discuss. They're going to be alpha, but not too much.
Just gave it a retweet. Yeah, so we've already got nearly 100 people. Hello guys. Hello. Oh, nice. We can see your comments. We have the technology. Yeah, so we'll just wait like a couple more minutes before we kick off with the agenda. Yeah, maybe in the meantime we can do intros. So yeah, I'll start because I'm already talking. So I'm Johnny. I lead marketing at deBridge. Yeah, but I think everyone on the team does different things. So maybe Sherry, should we go from top to bottom on the screen?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Sherry. I do growth at deBridge.
Yeah, and I'm Gal, leading the BD partnerships, but yeah, wearing many hats as usual.
I'm Alex, co-founder at deBridge, leading strategy, product, and many other things as well. Yeah, we're still a relatively small team. Actually, we recently crossed 55 people on deBridge, which is really exciting. I think like just 2 years ago we were 20 or so. Now we are like 55. So deBridge farm is growing fast, and that's amazing.
100%. So yeah, let's kind of just start off by going through what we're going to discuss on today's town hall. Yeah, obviously the format that we're sticking to with these town halls is to go through the progress that we're making towards our goal of connecting every person to every on-chain app. And that's covered in the state of deBridge. So we go through statistics, from transaction counts to volumes to all these other kind of important metrics that show how we're kind of progressing. GM Marino, GM, good to see you here, man. And then we get into the shipping season. So obviously there's a whole bunch happening on the integration side, on the partnership side. So this section is where we talk about what's changed, what's new in the product, but also who's actually using deBridge, because now we have a very large group of adopters from Phantom Wallet to for example, Trust Wallet, who just you might have seen on the deBridge Twitter today, just announced their integration of deBridge, and that takes us into the plugged-in section, which is every town hall we aim to have a conversation with an interesting guest. Last town hall we had a conversation with one of the leads at Say to talk about why they integrated deBridge, everything that's happening in the Say ecosystem. And so, this plugged-in section is kind of a chance for the deBridge community to understand like how other teams are using deBridge, but also what's happening in their neck of the woods, because the whole goal of deBridge is to help people to do more DeFi, to do it better, to understand the whole range of opportunities out there. And so, yeah, that's really what this plugged in section is about. We will also talk a little bit about what's coming in the near horizon for deBridge, try and give you guys some alpha. And then, yeah, we will open up towards the end, if we have time, a little bit of space for questions. So anyone that has questions throughout the town hall, just drop them in the chat. And yeah, we'll try and get to them when we can. So with that in mind, yeah, like just to go over the state of deBridge. Yeah, so in the last 30 days, it's been quite interesting. $850 million of volume that deBridge has processed. Obviously, the market has been in an interesting kind of position. We've had a lot of, as you can see here on the right, the most chain activity was Ethereum. Ethereum was the king, and yeah, I think anyone who's paying attention right now already knows that there's been a lot of kind of tailwinds for the narrative behind ETH, from like the ETF inflows to yeah, like lots of stuff happening on the staking side. So yeah, ETH has had a really big kind of run the last month, and a lot of users have been wanting to move particularly between Solana and Ethereum. And so yeah, that's kind of represented in this flow here. It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, like I think right now everyone is wondering if there will be like a alt season, like an old school alt season where ETH kind of takes off, and then this flows into all the alts. So it'll be interesting to see on the next town hall how this has evolved, which chain is kind of leading. Yeah, you never really know because no two cycles seem to be the same. But interestingly, we have a lot of people sharing insights from our Chain Explorer, from the deBridge analytics page. And I think a lot of people are actually starting to use this to get alpha for themselves or to share on Twitter or whatever. And yeah, so we can see one more point here, which is very important, which we will talk a bit more about later on in the town hall. So deBridge is actually the protocol has earned more than $1 million in revenue this month, and that's earnings that have gone to the DAO. And this is like a very interesting data point that we'll talk a bit. We'll talk later about, because obviously we had this big announcement about the deBridge Reserve Fund recently, and this kind of pertains to that. But yeah, overall, things are moving. I think I would encourage everyone to go and check out the deBridge Explorer if you haven't already. You can actually you can learn a lot, because many kind of smart money power DeFi users are using deBridge every day. They're using it to, like, one of the things we posted on Twitter yesterday, I still call it Twitter, was showing the inflows to ETH over the last few months. And you can kind of, you can kind of take from that yeah, like a lot of the power on-chain users have been using deBridge to accumulate ETH over the last few months. So, well, that's definitely one case you can make. And yeah, like, people are always sharing interesting insights that they discover on the Explorer with us. We don't have as much time to just sit there but every time I open the Explorer, like, I find some new interesting insights. Yeah, like, I know earlier today Alex was tweeting about how 100,000 new Solana addresses have moved on chain using deBridge in the last like 90 days. So yeah, like lots of stuff to learn and explore there. I would pass it over to Alex now to talk about a milestone that we just hit recently.
Yeah, let's discuss a bit our joint collective wins. And this one is really massive, because deBridge has finally achieved 1 million users. I think that is, like, looking back, that milestone is like massive, right? 1 million users basically means that 1 million unique on-chain addresses have ever interacted with a deBridge smart contract and deBridge infrastructure. Of course, there can be the cases when like one user can have multiple wallets, but still, this is one of the biggest milestone that we've achieved so far, because this basically means that the big number of users trust deBridge, big number of users rely on deBridge and rely in many ways, right? In terms of bridging their liquidity between chains, in terms of being the first when they want to buy some specific asset that was just launched, or that also comes to builders, who use deBridge in order to provide the best cross-chain experience for the inside in their apps and for their users. And just looking back, we've been building deBridge since early 2021, and it's really interesting that first it took us 18 months to get our first 10,000 users, right? And now, like 3.5 years later, since mainnet launch, we already reached 1 million users. So the growth has been like almost exponential, and that's just amazing to see. And I want to use this opportunity to give a huge shout out to all our users, to all members of deBridge fam, to our community, to all partners, and to everyone we've been working with. Because like in deBridge, our team has been very product focused and UX focused. We are trying to build instead of talk. And that's what we've been communicating to our team internally a lot as well. Like 2/3 of our team is basically engineers and developers, and we work hard, to deliver the best user experience. And the overall, journey has not been simple and easy, because like when we started deBridge, we've been pioneers of cross-chain intents and also zero TVL design. And I remember back in 2023, during the bear market, when we talked to different funds and investors, it was very difficult to explain zero TVL approach and how the model of intent is going to work. Like all the funds were telling us, look, this model requires validation, like the TVL and liquidity pools is a status quo, and like the bigger TVL is basically the bigger kind of converts into better like valuation. But we are not agreeing, right? Trying to explain that, look, if you have TVL, it's not capital efficient, and eventually like bridges that have TVL and use liquidity pool would need to pay like huge incentives in order to retain and attract that TVL. And in general, like it was very hard to kind of explain the model itself and the approach, because it was very novel. And now looking back, we just see that actually many of the cross-chain providers start to pivoting toward the intent-based approach as well, just because it's way more efficient. It provides like the better user experience for the end users and better security as well, because like with the zero TVL design, you don't have any honeypots, right? The liquidity is managed by Solver, and the Solver bears its own risk. Like there is no liquidity intermediary, liquidity at risk that is just like statically sitting in the smart contracts. And yeah, now also very, very important part of our growth has been support of Solana, I think, because around 30% of all our users are coming from Solana, right? And Solana has been the big point of growth for us, because basically Solana community was the first to really understand the concept and the design of what we are building. And huge shout out and kudos to Solana community, because like many Solana ecosystem projects, we are the first to actually support our vision and facilitate our integration with the Solana ecosystem in general. And yeah, that was super exciting. But this all is actually just the start, right? Because our goal is to make DeFi fully borderless. And in the near future, deBridge will ship some very important updates that will fully transform the whole on-chain experience. And I think that we gave some alpha on the previous town hall, but I'm personally like very excited about what's coming next, because we want to make deBridge to be like a super app for DeFi trading, where any user like don't need to think about like gas, about chains, and you can just like trade anything instantly. And not only trade, but also like instantly move between any of your favorite DeFi applications. So DeFi experience will be way more smooth, and seamless than it is now. And we are working hard to make that happen. And yeah, so stay tuned. Like we are planning some really interesting updates and building some very special protocol on top of DLN, on top of deBridge Liquidity Network that is powering all cross-chain trades in our app now. And yeah, thanks to everyone, for using our app, because like, as I mentioned, initially it took us like 18 months to get first 10,000 of users. And now if you open our Explorer and you switch on 24-hour toggle, we have 11,000 transactions per day. And just today, around 7,000 unique users have interacted with our infrastructure. So deBridge Farm is growing, our user base is growing, and that's just amazing to see. So yeah, thank you. Thanks to everyone, for the massive support and for using the product that we built. And for us, it's like the main inspiration, because we feel that we build product that people love, that people use, and that people rely on. And that's super exciting.
Yeah, and one of the things I would just remind people about is that if you're a deBridge app user, which I hope that pretty much everyone here is, you can actually give us feedback on the UI. So there's a little pop up in the bottom right corner where you should see you can basically drop feedback for the team. So yeah, we always kind of yeah, the goal is to build the best product for you guys. So keep that up. And yeah, one of that kind of leads us into the next point. One of the things that was shipped last month was the deBridge Reserve Funds. And this was a project that came about largely in part because of the communication and the feedback from the community about wanting starting from the from the start, right, on the deBridge Explorer, you've always been able to see protocol earnings, total volume, and these other metrics. But over the last couple of years, we've had a lot of stakeholders reaching out, asking, okay, where are these fees being held? How can we verify them? What's going to happen to these fees, et cetera, because obviously, like, one of the most important principles in DeFi is transparency, right? So that's kind of what sparked off this project, the deBridge Reserve Fund. So I'm sure that most people here already saw the announcement and heard about it on Twitter or someone referred you to the announcement. But yeah, if you go to debridge.foundation, you will see this dashboard that you can see here on the screen. And you can now essentially track all of the treasury assets that the deBridge DAO has accumulated from inception, from launch of mainnet in 2022. You can see the different balances held by the DAO. I think it's around $30 million worth or something today. And then, yeah, maybe Gal, do you want to explain a little bit more about the reserve fund?
Yeah, for sure. Like, in general, for the industry as a whole, like, we saw this as a very great opportunity to raise the industry standards for DAO transparency and articulating in like a very nice and visual way how the fees are being utilized, where they're being held, every single address associated to it, and that's all available on the foundation website right now. So yeah, feel free to check that out. And yeah, so far feedback has been great from token holders, power users, and in general, yeah, I think we hope like this will elevate things not just for deBridge but also for the industry as a whole. So yeah, it's growing and accumulating, and it's really good to see that it's a really good mode that we're seeing that is bringing the community together, and yeah, just keeping everyone aligned on the overall vision here, to connect all of DeFi. So yeah, I think it's a really exciting milestone for us, and feels like we're just getting started.
And also
for sure.
important to emphasize.
Oh, sorry.
I think that deBridge is also one of the most capitalized cross-chain DAO, right? Because if you check this deBridge Foundation website and dashboard, deBridge DAO owns $32 million in liquid assets, and the treasury is diversified across multiple. And you can see this like rounded pie chart and see to which protocols the liquidity is supplied to, right? But what is really important to understand that deBridge, like all the fees that the DAO and the protocol has generated since day one, have never been touched. They were never used for anything. They've never been used to finance the development or anything. It was always staying in the treasury. And with the launch of Reserve Fund and updated deBridge Foundation website, I think deBridge Foundation has set like new level of transparency, where anyone can just like validate the whole composition of the DAO's assets or the DAO treasury, and also the revenue that the protocol and ecosystem generates in total. And I've seen so many tweets, from different people saying like, look, deBridge is setting the proper level of transparency that was not seen before, right? And that's really great to see that we are like leading by example, right? And deBridge DAO just like shows how the DAO's website should look like. So yeah, it's interesting, and I really like how it all shapes up. And wanted to give a huge shout out to data team of deBridge Foundation for gathering this data together, because from the first glance this dashboard looks simple, but it looks simple because like data team did like amazing job, because in fact like all the protocol fees are accumulated across like so many different chains that deBridge supports. Also fees are accumulated in different assets, and in order to provide like easy to understand dashboard, it took like a lot of work. And yeah, it's great to see that now it all just like looks in a very transparent and straightforward manner. So yeah, that's amazing. Shout out to everyone who was working on this.
Yeah, that was one of the very big projects shipped last month, but a lot else has happened. So I'll pass it to Gal and Sherry.
Yeah, so yeah, this last month has been quite the shipping month. Yeah, with some general product updates. There's been we've been working very fast on shipping being compatible with the Solana dApp store. So big shout out to all the guys and all the community members who've been pre-ordering the Seeker phones. You should have this very easy way to access deBridge now in a matter of clicks. So yeah, whether you have assets on another chain and, for example, you want to bring it over to Solana instantly, now you can do it seamlessly and just in a few clicks. So yeah, really, really excited about that one. I think the pre-orders and the metrics that I've been seeing there have been incredible. So really excited to yeah, get it directly into Seeker users' hands. Another one, and this is more for the Hyperliquid community and the HyperEVM fam. We're now enabled support not just for Hype, but any liquid asset on HyperEVM, which is really awesome. So whether you're bridging into HyperEVM out, you can do it from any liquid assets available. And yeah, we're like, this really aligns with our overall goal of just making life easier for DeFi users, minimize the amount of clicks, minimize the amount of things that users need to think about. And yeah, overall, this just aligns with our vision for making DeFi accessible to everyone. And yeah, big shout out to the Hyperliquid guys. We're very bullish on you guys. So yeah, another one is an interesting one. So this is quite a unique feature. If you're a power user of deBridge, you probably already are aware of this feature where we enable exact output between different chains, no matter what asset you're trading between. So what this can look like is you're holding asset on chain A and you want to buy another asset on chain B. The quote that you see is exactly the minimum that you'll receive, and it's a guaranteed rate, which is quite unique for this space, because usually when you're bridging or swapping with more of the classical model for and the classical design, the number you see on the screen isn't actually exactly what you'll get in most cases. So yeah, I think this is one of our big moats where users feel confident in the asset, not just like the asset they're going to receive, but exactly how much of it they're going to receive. So yeah, we're going to continue pushing on this mode, and it's it's really important for us to make users feel like this element of confidence and where they know exactly what they're going to receive. So yeah, feel free to try that out on the app. And then I don't know if people know, but this is quite a fun podcast we did with the Fullport team. These are the guys behind Bullpen, and we did a podcast with them. It was around a couple of weeks ago. Me and Alex did it, and yeah, we dropped a lot of great alpha there about plans, product plans, strategy, and yeah, also the overall vision around the reserve fund. So yeah, if you guys have time, feel free to check that one out. I think we can drop the link somewhere for that, somewhere in the chat. And then more on the integration side. So we've had a few big wins, most notably around the Say ecosystem. So since we launched around the ecosystem, the Say ecosystem, around a month ago, we've gotten a lot of interest from some of the leading fast-growing apps within that ecosystem. So for example, Takara, Yaka Finance, and a couple of more who are about to go live soon. So yeah, it's really to see that we got a warm welcome from the ecosystem there. And yeah, it's been awesome to see that the Say ecosystem growth. We're really, really excited about that one. And then also Hyperlend, big shout out to them for supporting us. And I know they worked, put a lot of hours, and showed a lot of support for our integration. So really, really excited about that one. And so far the traction seems to be very good there. So yeah, I'll leave it to Sherry to share a very big announcement. Johnny hinted it earlier.
Okay, yeah. So this segment is mostly for our partners. We spotlight some of the best partners. Today we have a project that needs no introduction, and that's Trust Wallet. So if you've been around, you definitely would have used Trust Wallet. And if you haven't used Trust Wallet, I'm pretty sure everyone at some point in their life would have heard about Trust Wallet. They've been powering self-custody for millions of users. And today our integration went live with them. The intern will drop comment about this somewhere in the chat. Go check that out. And today we have Nick with us, joining us from Trust Wallet. So Nick, before we dive in, tell us who you are, what do you do, how did you end up becoming part of the team that's building one of the biggest crypto wallets in this industry?
Hey guys, appreciate you for having me. Can you all hear me? Everybody good?
Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, a little bit about me. I joined Trust Wallet almost a year and a half ago after leaving Ripple. So how did I get over to Trust Wallet? Essentially, I was around to Ripple and the crypto ecosystem. Was a big Ethereum miner, did a lot of stuff like that, and I realized that I had a passion for kind of the swaps, the fiat on ramp, off ramp, and everything. And that's when I made the decision to get over to Trust Wallet and kind of take on lead on the swaps and fiat staging over at Trust Wallet.
That's super interesting. What are your thoughts about the deBridge integration that went live today? Are you excited, as excited as I am?
Yes, very excited indeed. I know I've been speaking to the deBridge team for quite a while. I've actually met quite a few of them in Dubai and everywhere else around the world too. So I know this has been in the pipeline for a long time. I know we're very excited. I'm really interested to see how well this integration goes out, and happy to have everybody here. And I really wanted to give you a sincere thank you to the deBridge team, who's been amazing in getting this integration over the finish line. I know we've had constant messages with Alex about getting those tiny little details down to the last wire. So I'm super glad the team has been more than flexible to get this happening.
Super bullish on Trust Wallet. Trust Wallet was actually one of the first wallets I actually downloaded on my phone, and this was like my first entry into crypto, like years back. So this is like a super interesting moment for me personally. Okay, so for the listeners right now, what's something interesting happening with Trust Wallet right now? Something that you would share, that like alpha that you would want to share with the listeners?
Sure. So other than this amazing launch with deBridge, obviously we've been doing tons of different things around smart slippage, gas sponsorship, and FlexiGas, and tons more that's coming in the pipeline. I can't reveal all of it because it's not public yet, but keep in touch. I'm sure you'll be excited. The biggest news probably is, I'm sure you might have seen on our Twitter, we've kind of hinted at it a little bit. So RWAs, I'm going to give you a wink and tell you they're coming very, very soon. So kind of stay in line for that one as well.
That's super cool. Okay, and so there are so many wallets in this ecosystem right now. If you had to pitch a user that's using some other wallet right now to basically convince them to start using Trust Wallet today, what would your elevator pitch would look like? Like a quick, like 1 or 2 minute pitch.
Yeah, so I think the easiest thing I can say here is there's some wallets out there that kind of just focus on 1 or 2 chains, and they do a really good job of that. But why just limit yourself to 1 or 2 chains when you can have over 100 plus chains supported right at your fingertips and be part of the largest mobile wallet in the world? Aside from our browser extension, we also have multiple different things that we kind of target. When you see a chain come to a centralized exchange, you have to wait for that. I don't think people should have to wait for an L1 or different tokens or things to list on an exchange, because at that point, you've already lost out on the opportunity. The big gains and everything like that, the alpha is coming from these chains that are online, and you have to have access through the wallet. So I think it's really important you pick a key wallet that maximizes security while supporting the most chains possible, especially if maybe you're not most familiar with crypto, you want to alpha into some new token and you don't know that these things like gas or all of these trading pairs exist, and you just have one asset. That's not a problem in Trust Wallet, because we can get you anywhere using our cross-chain bridging platform. It's built into our swap, and if you want to go straight from your USDC or native token into any other chain, that's not an issue either, because we also support, like I said, multi-chain, multi-token swaps right from the get-go. So I think that's kind of the biggest selling point for us in making sure that your keys, your crypto, and that we highlight that.
I'm already convinced. I'm already a user. Thank you so much for sharing that. So my next question is, while I was doing my research about Trust Wallet, I see like you guys crossed 200 million downloads recently, which is a massive, massive number. When you build a product of that scale, what do you think becomes like difficult along the line? And in terms of like prioritizing for the user, like how do you manage that kind of scale?
Yeah, so at that level, everything, not just one thing, scales. So if you think about the law of diminishing returns, right? So it's like the idea of going from 97 to 99 is way, way harder than going from like 10% to 60%. Like think about tokens. You make one integration and then boom, you have more coverage. But as you kind of get more and more and more and more, you're kind of closing that gap. It gets so much harder to get those 1, 2, 3 extra percents. So I think the law of diminishing returns kind of really plays out here. But aside from that, when you have such a large audience, you have to make sure to cater to everybody. And I think one of the biggest things we do here at TrustWallet, that's one of the most important, is security. Like, it's in the name, trust. If you can't trust that wallet, then you shouldn't be using it to begin with. And we've made sure that our ISO security standards hold up to the utmost current standards, and we're always making sure that we're a leader in industry on this.
Okay, so my next question for you is, what's the most underrated feature in the Trust Wallet right now?
Yeah, so right now I'd have to say, I think it's this gas sponsorship and FlexiGas. So if you guys aren't familiar, basically if you're holding TWT, which is our native token, USDC, USDT, kind of the stables, as long as you're on Ethereum or BSC, gas sponsor, so you can actually pay for your gas on any swap using those native tokens. Now, we're planning to roll this out to more chains and more tokens and all those other kind of things. But I think the biggest thing in this industry right now is getting over the gas hurdle for some people, making that first swap. So trying to make sure that we're optimizing that. And then I think there's also going to be some big things coming up on gas sponsorship. But that's kind of a wink on the side there for you as well.
I'll message you on TG for the alpha. Okay, the last question before we let you go. So you guys have literally built one of the biggest wallets in crypto. Where do you see the wallet spaces heading in the next 2 years?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things is right now, mobile wallets are kind of just looked at as like, part of my portfolio or something like that. I think crypto wallets in general are going to become like what people consider as their main wallet. Like right now, if I asked you what's like the money in your bank account, you'll pull out your bank or something. I don't think it's going to be that. I think people are going to open up their mobile wallet. And the reason I really think this is if you think about the last 5 years, the US dollar, for example, has lost roughly 23.4% last I checked over the last 5 years alone. While crypto as a whole, from an industry level, went from 800 billion to now we're at 4.1 trillion in market cap, which is over a 400% gain. And you could have just kind of thrown a dart on the board and kind of made more money than you would just holding US dollars. So I think that's going to become the biggest thing as we see these kind of inflationary things happen with, governments and stuff like that, and just having the ability to move money faster and quicker. I think that's why we're positioning mobile wallets as a user-focused, user-post first.
That makes sense. Thank you so much for joining us today. Over to you, Johnny.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks, Nick. And I would just add quickly that it's been a pleasure, working with the Trust Wallet team. Super professional, super focused on security, and it takes us a while to finalize the integration because we've been discussing all the nuances for like months, right? But like Trust Wallet team is just like so professional. They treat security very seriously, and I'm super excited that we finally managed to announce what we've been building together today. So yeah, big shout out to you guys as well. And if anyone who is listening to us today, if you haven't tried Trust Wallet, just install, make a couple of transactions, and hope you guys will like the experience, especially if you do cross-chain trading, because deBridge is now one of the routes there. So yeah, thanks, Nick, and thanks to the entire team as well.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys having me. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Nick. Yeah, so before we think about wrapping up, we've got a few questions here. If you have any other questions, drop them into the chat here. So the first one, a few people have asked about season 2 of deBridge Points. So yeah, like obviously this town hall, we've been mostly focused on talking about product updates. But yeah, like stay tuned for an announcement soon about season 2. So yeah, hopefully that's that addresses that one. We have a couple of people asking about staking. So maybe Alex, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, so staking, actually, I think what is really important is to understand, right? What is staking needed for? And we've been jamming on this a lot, and we have the governance, the post on the governance forum, deBridge, where we've been like gathering feedback, and jamming on different ideas. And there are different use cases for staking, right? It's either to increase the protocol security, or is to somehow redistribute value internally within the ecosystem. And I think that like deBridge DAO and Foundation like got really good tool through the launch of the deBridge Reserve Fund, and it's both simplistic, and very efficient, right? So it was implemented completely without staking. And if you launch staking, I think what is really important is to understand like what's needed for and how the exact mechanics is going to work. And I think that it's important to approach this iteratively, right? And the deBridge Reserve Fund was really good first iteration that is proven to be functioning very well. And if you guys have any ideas on like how the second iteration should look like, always feel free to, suggest it through our Discord channel, X, or make a post on the deBridge governance forum. That will be very much appreciated. And like we all, as part of the deBridge community, are very open to discussions and ideas on how the DAO can evolve and how it can improve even further.
Yeah, so I believe those are the only questions we've had today. Appreciate everyone who's dropped a question.
Also, I also realized maybe we can also share a bit about like upcoming conferences and where we can connect with the community. For upcoming conferences, some of us will be in Korea Blockchain Week, and then a good chunk of the team will also be in Singapore. So Token 2049. So if anyone will be around, it would be awesome to hang out, jam on ideas, and put names to faces.
Awesome. So thanks a lot for everyone who's tuned in today. We've had a good conversation with Trust Wallet. We've shared a lot of stuff on the product side. We've got hopefully next week a big product update coming out, so you can look forward to that. Big shout out to everyone who's joined on Wednesday to tune into the town hall. So the next one will be a month from now on the second week of September, same time on Wednesday. Thanks so much for everyone that's joined today. I hope everyone has a great week, and stay tuned for that big product announcement next week as well.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.